everybody, my name is Michael. Thanks so much for joining me. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be demoing my latest project, SpectroSim. Alright, I really wanted to keep going with our simulation theme for actually performing chemical experiments online. Thinking back to my undergrad again, one experiment we performed was chemical spectroscopy, more specifically absorption spectroscopy. I do have a goal to continue to add simulations such as infrared spectroscopy and many more in the future. But let's dive into the demo. Alright, so on the home page here we have SpectroSim, and we can go ahead and hover and click on AbsorbSim to get to the AbsorbSim page. You can also, from the home page, go to Simulators and click on AbsorbSim via the dropdown. AbsorbSim is the subproduct name for the absorption spectroscopy within SpectroSim, which I think is kind of fun. Alright, we are met with this search page where you can actually enter in compound names and search them. So PubChem is an online chemistry database with lots of compounds, substances, and many bioactivities that you can look up within its interface. We are actually using the REST API within PubChem to get access to its information with the request module in Python. Our backend has a custom parsing algorithm I wrote using regular expression to extract out the absorption spectroscopy simulations for given compounds. My goal is to also fine-tune this to also accept different patterns, as PubChem lists many different experiments, and compounds vary heavily by what experiments are supported and supplied by various institutions. Alright, so jumping back into it, for example, let's go ahead and search up caffeine, and if we run this, and caffeine is populated to the screen. We have a short description that we parsed out from PubChem, and we also populated out its lambda-max and epsilon-max given by that custom regular expression we wrote. We can go ahead and generate an AbsorbSim to actually plot out the absorption spectroscopy of caffeine. We're using Plotly.js to plot this on the front end, so it's nice and fast. Because we're only given maximums and potentially a few other data points for minimums of where we see spikes on our spectroscopy, I'm simulating the curve with a Gaussian distribution model. In my research before making this, I found that this closely fit the models that were produced with live experiments. You also have the ability to download graphs to your device. As I said before, some compounds aren't supported by the current regular expression parsing, or they just don't have data supplied for an absorption spectroscopy. For example, if we look up sodium, you can see there's no UV data for sodium. There are many other compounds though that are supported by this algorithm, such as benzene, benzoic acid, and aspirin. Like I mentioned earlier, my backend does support either singular points for maximums or multiple points for maximum and minimums. I also wanted to try building a cache for the very first time. We gathered data for frequently searched items, and upon reaching a certain threshold of searches, we parse through our cache and clear out the least frequently searched items, keeping the most, so those remain accessed from our database rather than accessed from the API. And then we begin building our cache back up with successful searches. I will note that the backend host of render.com doesn't really allow for the expanding of free tier projects, so the cache is currently being bypassed by render.com as it's being reverted back to our latest push after each session. I also have a short about page to kind of give you a description of what spectroscopy is. I would like to mention I wrote this completely from scratch live on stream. I would say about 98 to 99% of the code is actually hand typed by myself, which I'm really proud of. If you'd like to see me build projects like this live on stream, please consider subscribing and joining my stream when you can. I would also like to mention that you can access the code completely for free on GitHub and view all my code. If you'd like to contribute and also add your own ideas, consider doing so and submit a pull request, and I'll consider adding it in. If you'd like to contribute, please consider joining my Discord down below so you can discuss your ideas and get feedback on them. Alright, this was SpectroSim. I will hope to see you in the next one where I have some more features to display and showcase to you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.